Welcome to Movie Nights with Dad. I'm Dad.
And I'm Riley. And if you're new here, Movie Nights with Dad is a podcast with my dad, where we talk about movies, we review movies. He has an extensive theater background. And what's going on? What's the matter?
What's wrong with my voice?
Oh, don't worry about it. It's okay. I'll fix that later. It'll be all right.
No, I mean something different.
Well, we're just going to dub some of your lines then afterwards. That's what you heard probably. No big deal.
Okay.
That was a nod to the movie we're reviewing today, Singin' in the Rain, in which which deals with kind of early on in Hollywood history when movies were switching from silent films to talkies.
As depicted in The Jazz Singer, which was episode
8
off the top of your head.
I think
wow,
8.
Good
I
for
want to
you.
say
I think maybe
8 or 9.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what we did with Dad right there is we just essentially mimicked what happened with a lot of stars that got their careers derailed, and I'm eventually going to replace Dad with the person who's dubbing his voice.
My derailment happened
Yeah.
before it even got started.
Cool.
So
All right.
how clever was that?
I know.
Clever, eh?
It was pretty fun. That's probably the most effort we'll ever put into a cold open. Like genuinely, because I'm gonna have to come in after the fact. And come now, son. All right. Cool. Well, thank you guys for showing up. This is episode
thanks.
32.
32.
We're continuing Musical May with Singin' in the Rain, classic. If you're new here, like I said, we review movies. He's got a theater background. We talk about the acting and just all that stuff. I'm his son. He's my dad. And if you're new here, we do spoil the movie. So get out of here if you don't want it spoiled. And if you don't care, stick along with us and we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about some of the background. We'll talk about our opinions on it, some hot takes. So stick around for those. But mostly we'll talk about just like what we thought of it and our opinions and about the acting and the performances and such.
Right.
And maybe some dirty little gossip about things going on.
Dirty little
Dirty
gossip.
little gossip. I've never said that before on this podcast.
Sounds awful. I don't
I
think
know.
we should use those words.
Yeah, it's not good. We're derailing. Okay. But yeah, thanks for showing up. Do you want to? Yeah, welcome again. We're doing our classic. Here's the 4th time we're doing the intro that we don't edit out. But yeah, let's get into it. Dad, tell me about this movie. Tell me about some of the background stuff you looked up here.
Well, Singin' in the Rain, directed by Stanley Donen and Gene Kelly, 1952. That's about it. What more do you want to know for now?
See you guys. No, but
Thanks for tuning in.
yeah, I've got a couple things. I don't want to delve too long on like the whole background because people could just look that stuff up. But like, something I thought was interesting is this whole film was built from like a back catalog of songs.
Yeah, I heard that.
That Arthur Freed had written with Nasio Herb Brown for early MGM sound era musicals for the 20s and 30s. So they just kind of pulled a lot of those together because this wasn't like they didn't know they were making Singin' in the Rain. They thought it was just another run-of-the-mill musical that MGM was putting out, essentially.
Right.
Well,
And you kind of wonder when you go back through the movie and you see some of the songs like Good Morning, you know, like, that's a strange,
Yes.
And I mean, some of them just kind of seem like, I Make 'Em Laugh fits.
yes.
Certain, I mean, they all fit, and you can tell that they wrote the script around them, but some of them you're thinking like, well, that's kind of random.
Yeah,
you
right. And the whole movie does have that feel where you're like, it feels like this was written around the music.
Yeah, you can kind of tell.
The performance of
Right.
it.
Yet it widely considered one of the greatest movie musicals ever made.
Yeah, yeah. How many I forgot to put down the awards that it won. Did it win the awards whenever it first came out?
It did not win Best Picture. It was beat out by An American in Paris.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
I think Singin' in the Rain reputation has I think the reputation of the film actually surpassed it, maybe. Eventually.
Okay. Yeah. I think I read somewhere that this was one of the results of like those like later releases, like in the 80s or something.
Right.
We've had a lot of those movies where like they really find their huge success later on.
Yeah.
But Singin' in the Rain was also pretty critically acclaimed when it came out as well.
I mean, I think it did well. I just think it's gotten more icon status as the years went by. But that I felt like that. How they recycled songs from the MGM catalog was rather interesting.
I know, yeah.
The writers built the story around it.
Exactly, yeah. But this is one of those films in the Library of Congress. You know, it's like it's seen as one of the greatest films ever made.
Definitely.
The American Film Institute now ranks it as the #1 greatest movie musical of all time.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
The greatest one?
The greatest. Top one. Yeah, #1. The American Film Institute.
Yeah.
Just some fun facts, a little background we got here. Debbie Reynolds was 19 when this started, and she had no dance training.
Very much novice.
Yeah. She just had a gymnastics background. We do. I think I want to just mention this a little bit. Gene Kelly, bit of a perfectionist, and he definitely kind of pushed Reynolds a little too far by her own words. You know, she talked about how one of her most famous quotes was, the two hardest things she ever did in life were childbirth and Singin' in the Rain. And that, you know, we've talked about like perfectionism and leaning over into abuse a lot. And I think not a lot, just in a lot of these movies, that theme seems to come up with a lot of these classics. And
and the stars were pushed to their limits
very far. And you know, did Debbie Reynolds deserve that? I don't think so. But you know, it's just something that happened, so I just wanted to point it out. Not to start this on a dark tone or anything, but then you had Gene Kelly, and then Stanley Donen, or is it Donen?
I don't know. I mean, phonetically, it looks like Donen to me. So
there's a lot of like little fun facts I got in here about like random things that happen. Like Gene Kelly filmed the title number "Singin' in the Rain" with 103-degree fever.
I had that too. I think we're using the same fun facts.
Oh no. Well, you finish that. You go ahead.
No. It still became one of the most famous dance sequences ever, and who would have known that he was that ill? Donald O'Connor. I think all of these poor stars were tortured at one time or another. Even though Gene Kelly seemed to be the one that tortured the most, he had the fever. Donald O'Connor, his Make 'Em Laugh, which is one of my favorite parts of the film. Apparently that number was so physically brutal that he ended up hospitalized. Did you have that as your fun fact?
Yeah, well, because Donald O'Connor was like, he smoked like 4 packs a day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like, that's why.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I mean, and back then, I guess they didn't really pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you're like, well, yeah, dude, don't do that. Yeah. And then do that crazy number.
Who would have known? I didn't know he was that much of a chain smoker.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to. We always shame people on these. We're just like, how dare you be that way?
Shame you, Donald O'Connor. Didn't you know the Marble Man?
Yeah, of course. But
Surgeon General's warning.
But I mean, that whole the Make 'Em Laugh is such a. That honestly might have been one of my favorite songs in the whole thing, because he's so dynamic with his movements and everything. And but yeah, can you imagine smoking that much and then trying to do that number? That I would go insane.
So he had a hospital stay for exhaustion, and then he had to do the entire thing again because the footage was unusable.
Yeah,
originally. So
crazy.
Yeah, we have the same fun facts.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then do you have this one? So obviously the film's entire plot is about dubbing over someone else's voice. But then that's what happened to Debbie Reynolds during certain parts.
She didn't. It wasn't always her voice singing.
No. Ironically, it was Gene Hagen who plays Lina Lamont.
Yeah, who really had a good voice in real life.
Yeah. So you're kind of like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And there are even some speaking lines that Debbie Reynolds gets dubbed over and stuff, and they really wanted everything to sound and look the way it was supposed to.
Well, Debbie Reynolds had just started out. I believe she was a teenage beauty queen. I think she's a beauty queen in California, like, I don't know, Miss San Diego or something. I could be wrong with that, but it doesn't matter. Very young. I think she won that at 16.
Wow.
Maybe I could be getting this mixed up with somebody else, but I think I'm right. I think part of her winning that pageant was some type of a movie role, a very minor movie role.
Yeah.
But that's how she got involved. But she really, she really got to where she eventually got to because she was just determined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can see that in her performance too.
Yep.
The fact that like she went through all that hardship and honestly like Gene Kelly's kind of abuse, I would say.
Yeah.
But still like went through with it and delivered a fantastic performance.
Right. And Gene Kelly is just like a lot of these other people. Like we're going to talk about Barbara Streisand later. We're going to talk about, we're probably going to cover a Faye Dunaway movie one of these days.
Yeah. Well, we covered Hitchcock, who was also
Hitchcock.
very cruel. Yeah.
Who else was I going to say? I said Barbara Streisand. Anyway, you really kind of would like to know the real story. Were these people actually cruel, or were they just no nonsense? I mean, Lucille Ball, greatest comedians of all time, who you think would be really lighthearted and stuff, was not. And there were some people that work with her who did not care for her because she was such a taskmaster. But I think women don't get a fair shake, like Barbara Streisand, those people who want to do a good job and are just perfectionists and don't mess around. And were they really snooty? Were they really cruel? Was Gene Kelly really cruel, or was he just wanting to put out the best product?
Well, and that's I think a lot of times, you mentioned like Lucille Ball and stuff like that. I think what tends to happen, especially in these like this older era, is like when women are just more of a perfectionist and they just kind of like tell people what to do. All the men in the room go, ugh. Yeah. Like that, and they go, she's being bossy, but then like when the man does it and is actually cruel, they're like, well, he's just passionate and he just really wants to make a good show. And so I think there's like definitely some bias there, but I think my
point is, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but my point is, you can talk about Gene Kelly being cruel. You can talk about Shirley MacLaine from The Apartment that we did. Believing in a lot of cockamamie stuff about reincarnation and things that some people don't think is cockamamie. And I'm not going to call them kooks or anything, but I think you just really have to decide, okay, these people are entertainers. Am I going to enjoy their performance anyway? Probably so.
Oh yeah.
Jane Fonda, big war activist, went against a lot of people's beliefs. Still great actress. I still watch her movies. I still enjoy her. I don't agree with a lot of the actors that I think are my favorites these days. I don't agree with their political, religious views, all that stuff. But I just think sometimes you got to say, why are we talking about how awful Gene Kelly was, or Barbara Streisand, or Joan Crawford, or any of those actors? Why are we talking about that when it's just entertainment?
Yeah, so. I think I would push back a little bit. I get what you're saying, because I think at a certain point you have to separate the art from the artist, because it's like you shouldn't just be like, well, I don't like that person, so I don't like anything they make. And it's like, I think you can look at, you got to be able to handle nuance, and you got to be able to handle, things that run up against what you believe, things where like there's like contradiction. You have to be like able to balance that stuff. And I think that it's good to do that, especially engaging in art that you disagree with, I think is really important. But at the same time, I think it's also really important to acknowledge, like, like we said, like Gene Kelly, there's like abuse and stuff going on. And of course, we don't really know what was going on. We just know the reports and everything like that. But like, I think that, I think Gene Kelly himself said he was pretty abusive. So I'll just go off of his word.
But unless they say it themselves, I just don't. You just don't know for sure.
But I think it's important to point it out just so we can name it. It's kind of like the whole thing about like those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. I think that's the whole thing where like it's important to note this stuff and be like, hey, this happened, and they still made something good. So just because there's a good movie out there doesn't mean something crazy didn't happen.
True.
So that's the only pushback I would give. But I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. I think Debbie Reynolds said something like her feet bled or something.
Yeah. It was pretty grueling. Like she said, two of the hardest things in her life: singing in the rain and childbirth.
That's pretty intense.
Just wild thing to say. It just shows how hard it was. But nonetheless, I think we always point that stuff out because we want to talk about these classic movies and not ignore what happened, but then also be like, hey, this is a great movie.
Right, and there's been way heavier things to talk about with movies rather than the reputation or the actions of the stars for sure.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, Dad, had you seen this before we watched it?
I have not seen it before
Okay.
in the movie form. I've seen it on stage. I've seen snips of it, of course.
All right.
I knew the storyline somewhat.
Yeah.
So
I had not seen this before. I obviously knew Singin' in the Rain. Everybody knows that. I heard good morning, good morning.
yeah.
But I didn't know what to expect because I hadn't. This is happening less and less as we do this podcast, which is fun for me. This is another one where I hadn't seen any of these stars in anything else yet.
Oh,
never seen Gene Kelly.
Okay.
Never seen Debbie Reynolds. Never seen Donald O'Connor in anything. And so I kind of only knew the title track. And then when they started singing Good Morning, I was like, oh, that's this movie.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of had a few of those moments.
Yeah, because the songs, you heard the songs before you knew much about the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, what kind of surprised you the most about this movie?
Well, as I said, I'd seen it before on stage.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just have to go back to before I saw it on stage. How about that?
Okay.
I really expected it just to be an old school musical, been around a long time. I did not expect the historical relevance to talkies.
Yeah.
Which actually, some of that stuff really happened where silent screen stars were not able to transition to talkies.
Yeah.
I did not know that they were going to reference the jazz singer, a real show,
which was so cool to be like, I've seen that.
we saw
that was
it.
so
we saw
fun.
It. We reviewed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of just think. I guess I thought it was going to be kind of just a feel good, watch it for entertainment, and I did not know that it was. There was something more important about it than just the fun part of the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? So
yeah, that's cool.
And I also was a little surprised at how modern it felt.
Yeah.
I guess just the overall humor, pacing, the self-awareness aspect, the way they talk to each other and everything. But the self-awareness about Hollywood, it was just sharper than I expected, I think.
Yeah, there's the term people are using nowadays, meta, to describe something that is like almost outside of itself and referring to itself.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad to know that.
This this movie kind of is meta in a way. So yeah. But yeah, I would say the same. I didn't think I would. I'm going into Musical May. This is our second. I don't think we mentioned that this episode yet. Musical May. This is our second movie, second out of the 5 we're doing this month. We did A Hard Day's Night last week. Look at that. But I didn't expect to like this as much as I did because I am going into these not a musical person. I'm not a person. Well, like I play music. I don't necessarily like watching musicals. I don't really seek out musicals in like a theater setting. That's not to say I don't like them. I have loved musicals that you're in. I've loved musicals I've seen. I've been in bands for musicals, like productions and things.
Right.
It's just not my cup of tea, which is totally fine. I get why people like it. But it was really fun as a person who's not even really into musicals. I thought it was the art behind it and the performances were genuinely like stunning. And I thought it was just really fun. I think there were parts of it where the story kind of feels a little disjointed, but it's just one of those movies that just works. It's like, it's got this magic to it where you're like, wow. And then it just kind of just falls together almost. It doesn't fall apart. It falls together.
Yeah.
And I think that was really
So this
cool
was your first time seeing it ever?
First time seeing this and any of these people. I'd never seen any of them in anything.
So I don't share your enthusiasm for it, and I think because there are several things here.
Got it.
I think because I've already seen it on stage. Much like sports, because I'm not a sports fanatic, but I enjoy watching sports, but I'd much rather watch them live.
Okay.
I think with musicals, I'd much rather watch them live.
Same.
If I had seen this movie for the first time without seeing the live stage show, and if I'd seen it on the big screen, I think it would change the way I feel. I think that this movie is something, it's so big, it's so important, it's so sharp and brilliant and everything else, but it needs to be seen on the big screen. I did not get as excited about it or have the same enthusiasm you have, and I think that's why. Because I agree with what you're saying with how sharp it is and how, wow, everything, because it is well done and it's visually stunning, and, you know, they worked very hard on the chemistry of everybody, and, you know, you can feel the friendship between Don and Cosmo. It's well done. But again, I think I'd be way more enthusiastic about it, and it would be one of my I'm just going to, full disclosure, I'm not a fan of movie musicals. I've figured that out right in the middle of Musical May.
That's so funny.
So I'm I'm going to watch them anyway. But,
that's okay.
You know, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, even modern day La La Land, those I'm not.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I don't seek them out because I'm not a huge fan of them. But I think I'm kind of the same way where like if I'm gonna watch a musical, I'd much rather see it live.
Yeah,
because it's just so there's something about even though I don't really like seeking out musicals live either. We're really dogging on musicals in the middle of Musical May, which is hilarious.
That's where it goes.
But
it's a review.
But like
opinion.
There's something to like about seeing someone just perform and like sing their heart out on stage, which is way more entertaining to me than like seeing it on screen. I don't know why.
We're not used to people in movies bursting into song.
Yeah.
You know, singing about something they're feeling, singing about being in love, singing. It makes more sense to us on the stage. That's the whole deal.
Well, it makes me feel kind of sorry for people who do like musicals, because nowadays musicals are not as popular as they once were, like movie musicals.
I'm not saying I dislike them. I'm just saying that, you know, they're not my cup of tea. They're not my go-to. Yeah, and you're saying the same thing. So.
But if you do like musicals, we're here for you. Like we're gonna look at these.
Please watch, because we're gonna do 3 more.
We're gonna do our best. Yeah. Okay, great take. I wanted to get into just some like questions about maybe like the story and stuff like that, and see what you thought. Because obviously, like you said, the story's written around the backlog of songs that they have. They kind of just and to me it felt a little disjointed.
Okay.
At certain points. So more specifically, I guess we could talk about just the movie's set in general. It was during like the real, kind of like terrifying transition for actors from like silent films to talkies.
Yeah.
Do you think that? How do you think the movie does with like handling that transition? What did you think about that?
I think it was a little bit light because they went for the comedy part of it.
Sure.
It ruined people's lives.
Yeah.
I mean, silent to sound transition ruined some people's lives.
Yeah.
They fell off the radar. I mean,
wow.
there were people who went back to regular life, which nothing's wrong with regular life, but you know, they lived high on the hog, you know.
Wasn't their choice to not be a star anymore. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say the movie treats it too lightly. I would just say that the movie I guess looks at parts of that transition that were more comedic, but also I would imagine there were some people who were real jerks, silent film screen stars, who when they tried to make the transition didn't do very well, and there were some people going, ha ha, that's what you get because you've been a jerk. So I think they played all that angle up a little bit.
With the Lina Lamont character.
Yeah, because I'm sure there were Lina Lamonts out there who were such divas and so important, but yet they had awful voices, or, you know, they just did not play well to audiences, you know. So and I would imagine that idea was written down somewhere, or something happened there, and that inspired maybe the writers somewhat. I don't know, maybe. So
I kind of agree. I think they took it a little too light. But I think that's the only way you could have done it in this movie.
Well, you can't get too serious in a movie musical. You can't get too down in the dumps, you know, with all that. So
true. Where does Debbie Reynolds fit in the dynamic between Gene Kelly and Don O'Connor, because they kind of have these two characters who are, they've been best friends since they were little kids, and like they've been doing all, and their relationship feels really lived in. Where does Debbie Reynolds kind of fit within that trio, you think?
I mean, I think she was a good choice for this role because she's kind of supposed to be somebody who comes out of nowhere, who's believable, that she started at the bottom of the rung, but her talent is going to elevate her, which it eventually does in the movie. And actually, this is Debbie Reynolds' life. She just worked her tail off to get to where she was.
Yeah.
So this movie kind of mirrors what she went through as well. I don't know. I think her characterization fits in there because, you know, Gene Kelly's character was already quite a star. You know, his buddy, played by Donald O'Connor.
Yeah.
So are you saying where does her character fit, or where does she as an actress fit?
Just her character, you could say. Like, how does how does she land? Let's talk about her character, and then maybe we could do the acting chemistry later. Where does her character kind of land within the trio for you? How does that feel? I guess you could go with Debbie Reynolds as well, like the chemistry. If you want to talk about that.
I just think that she, like I said, it mirrored her life. I think that she had to fight and just by sheer determination show, hey, I can do this. I can sing. I can dance. Yeah. I can shine. I can outshine this group of dancers. I can do a better job than Lina Lamont's doing. I can, you know, I really think that was her. I think she always had that grit and determination to do better, you know.
And then it kind of works too because Don and Cosmo are kind of these veterans. Yeah. And they're kind of bringing her along into the industry together. Right. And so it kind of really does fit with where Debbie Reynolds,
I'm yawning, sorry. Going. I'm not bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you?
So, yeah, I don't know. I think in the story, these guys are charitable to her. I think in real life, she had to work a heck of a lot harder.
Yeah, totally.
Especially with Donald O'Connor. I did not or not Donald O'Connor, Gene Kelly. I did not read anything about her relationship with Donald O'Connor. Did you happen to? Or
I don't think there was anything negative that I saw. Yeah. I could be wrong about that. Yeah. I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So,
I would be interested to know, like, okay, did they ever talk about doing any more movies together? Did they...
Yeah, do you know if they did? I don't know if they did.
I don't know. Okay. I did they greet each other warmly if they saw each other? Yeah. You know, later in life, who knows? You know, so.
Yeah. No, that's good. I thought Debbie Reynolds was really charming, and finding out how young she was in this movie was like kind of crazy because I went like, where she's really, because she seems like she has a really good presence on screen, and she really brings a lot to the character. So I don't know. I really liked it. Right. If you had directed this, if you could change one thing about this movie, what would that be?
I was not a fan of the Broadway ballet.
Ballet? Or
Take two. Broadway ballet.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Why did I say ballet?
The whole like dream sequence you're talking about?
I wasn't a fan of that.
Really?
Sequence.
Okay. Interesting.
I thought it was impressive, but I thought it made me feel weird about the pacing of the film. I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying?
I understand what you mean. Yes.
I feel like
I disagree, but I understand.
Well,
what
that's
you mean.
okay if you disagree. I think I would have either tightened it up or I'd have done a lot of rethinking about it. I don't know. It was just to me it was an odd. It was another one of those things that, like you said, it felt part of the movies felt disjointed, and I think that's the whole element of writing a script around songs. Sure. So maybe that's part of it for me. Maybe. That's just what I would say. Again, it was very impressive. Yeah. But I felt like it interrupted the overall pace of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I have a different take on the if you directed it thing, but it kind of goes along with what you said. And mine was focus more on the plot. Like give the romance more time.
Yeah, definitely that. I would agree with that.
That too. Was like, I remember I watched this with Kylie, and I was like, so they're like together now. Like they just sing that song and they're together. Yeah. And I think that
Yeah.
like we've been talking about, this film feels like it's more about the performances first and the story second.
Right.
And I think I would have done more to make them feel more equal.
Yeah.
Because you really do have these tremendous actors who could really do a good job if you just gave them some time to develop chemistry and, you know, some type of story on screen. And I don't think they really had the time to do that amidst all the performances.
Well, and I don't know that I would even call them tremendous actors. Not in the not in the way that they don't have great star power and everything, but I don't know that I would expect any great depth out of any of them. They are from that whole Hollywood polished performance age.
Sure.
You're not going to see them in an early 60s black and white gritty HUD type movie or To Kill a Mockingbird or Lilies of the Field or any of those types of movies.
Yeah.
Now someone out there is going to say, yeah, but Debbie Reynolds did blah, 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 whatever. And she probably, if I had to pick anybody that would transition into a dramatic role, she'd be it, and she could do it. But I don't know. I don't think that those three are going to do much above movie musicals at this point now, you know. But again, I'm not super familiar with any of their later work other than just knowing them from musicals and you know.
Me neither. I've heard the name Gene Kelly. I've heard the name Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Like so yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks for your takes.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some of the acting.
Okay.
Do you just want to? I'll go ahead and let you take over and whatever you've got for the acting section.
Okay. You know, we already talked about Gene Kelly. Yeah. Mega talent, notoriously demanding.
Yes.
He's extremely athletic. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize how there is a when I was Googling, you know, and I was going through and looking at some different things. Yeah. There's a picture of him. He was in some type of Peter Pan style outfit, and I mean his legs look like a football player's.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like stone or something, and you know he had to be
because he was a dancer,
super athletic because of that.
Yep.
He's of course been compared to other great dancers, Fred Astaire, you know.
Yeah.
I do think I can recognize I said that they're not. None of them are super depth at acting. I'm not saying that they're not talented because Gene Kelly, you can tell that Gene Kelly is extremely in tune with movement for the camera, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think he intentionally designed a lot of the movement. And I'm not just talking about dancing either. I'm talking about all of it for the camera. I think that there were so many stars of that era and later too who knew exactly how to act for the camera and to move for the camera. It wasn't just him getting up there and performing a tap dance or a song or whatever it was. It was him knowing exactly how to move, how to design a scene so that it was appealing to the camera. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Donald O'Connor, you can tell especially with his slapstick, he had roots in vaudeville, which is where a lot of these early stars started anyway. Vaudeville, moving around town to town and putting on shows in theaters and things. You can just he's probably an underrated great movie comic. He could do that physical comedy so well.
Yeah.
Really, when you look at his, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, you're good. No.
When you look at his Make 'Em Laugh song, it made me think of a cartoon.
Yeah. The movements he's doing and just his expressions and the dancing, like it took so much skill to look like it looks so polished and perfect.
Yeah.
That it is. I was surprised I'd never heard of him before because I never heard of Donald O'Connor. But like that routine really stood out to me in this film that I was just like, that takes so much talent to just do that.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And then we talked about Debbie Reynolds a little bit. She was definitely the underdog in this movie. And it really does mirror her life. And she was just like I think probably if I had to say the phrase that she probably had at this stage in her life was, "I'll show them," you know, because I think she just worked her rear end off, you know.
Yeah.
She really holds her own, and in not many, but several scenes, she outshines, I think, and it's just because of her sheer effort, determination.
Yeah.
Jean Hagen, who played Lina, loved her.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the movie Secret Weapon.
Yes.
Incredible comic timing. Incredible. Yep. The girl who played this, when I saw a stage version of it, was really super good.
Nice.
You could tell she'd seen the movie, of course, but who wouldn't do that? And then you mentioned Jean Hagen, ironically, had a great voice in real life, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is Jean Hagen's kind of like the real acting powerhouse of the film.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, that's sure. That's for sure. I think that she it might have been funny to, I don't know. No, it wouldn't have worked for the movie, but like I think of Jim Nabors. I don't know. I'm going off on a total tangent.
I've heard that name.
Who Jim Nabors is? Jim Nabors played. He was a pretty big comic. Very good friends with Carol Burnett.
Okay.
Great comedian. Played in a TV show called Gomer Pyle, which started out on the Andy Griffith Show.
Yes.
He was like, golly, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he was very much a country bumpkin.
Yeah.
But he was a trained opera singer. So they would have Gomer talking like, well, yeah, I'm so glad to see you, Sergeant Carter. And he was such a country bumpkin. But then he'd sing, and he'd sing this culture, and it was kind of funny. But, I mean, it was... I think it was meant to be somewhat funny, but yet fantastic singer.
Yeah. And
I don't know. It might have been funny to somehow work it in that Lina really could sing kind of okay, but it wouldn't have worked, you know. Sure. But anyway, it would have been. It's funny to know that she really was a pretty good singer in real life, you know.
Right.
So
that's cool. Sweet. Yeah. Anything else on like? I guess I had some like questions that I still haven't really formulated yet that I'm thinking about from like a theater perspective.
Yeah.
But like we've talked about, I think with this movie, it's really hard to balance the story and the performance. But I've seen you in musicals that do that really well, and I think this isn't a question that I've prepped you on, so I'm sorry to get you on the spot. Okay. But
say it again. What do you think they do? What do they do well? What are you talking?
Oh, well, we've just talked about how in this movie, like, it seems like it's built around the performances, and then the story kind of comes second.
Yeah.
But then I've seen you in musicals where the story is done really well,
super important,
along with the music.
Gotcha.
What do you think is the secret to making that work? Because, you know, if I'm writing a musical, it's like, yeah, you want to make sure the performances are really good. But like, how do you weave a good story in between the music?
Honestly, I just think you have to start out from the beginning, and you have to have chemistry with your cast.
Okay.
You can't have there's so much self-importance. There's so many overblown egos. You see it a lot in community theater. People, you know, think they're way better than they are, and probably I'm one of them. No, but anyway, I really think that you gotta. I always blame the director. If it's not good, it's the director's fault. If there's not cohesiveness, it's the director's fault. I think from the get-go, the director needs to be talking to you and coming up. Like, I worked with the director who will say, well, how does so-and-so feel right now? Why would so-and-so do this? You know, and you got to think. I think if the director guides that, like, from the get-go and talks about making that character's problems your own. How do you feel about so-and-so running off? Or like in Fiddler that I just did not too long ago. I'm sorry, spoiler alert.
You're good.
But how do you feel that your daughters are running off and getting married? And I think that you have to get really invested in the characters, and when you get invested in the characters, the story, I think, naturally follows along.
Yeah. So it's a matter of like convincing your actors too. You'd say.
Yeah, you got to be able to live the story, and if you live the story, then the story and the characters, the performances are all going to be cohesive.
That's cool.
So
yeah, good answer. I liked that.
Blah blah blah.
No, very good. Cool. Okay. Well, let's move on to like some of our usual segments we do. What was your scene stealer for this movie? What kind of stood out?
Donald O'Connor.
Yeah.
Donald O'Connor.
Yeah.
Hands down. Just because I feel like there is so much going on in a musical. I'm talking stage. I'm talking, I don't know. I've never done a movie musical, but I know that in a musical, I've always said when I have done musicals for a little bit and then go off and do a straight play, kind of feels a little bit like a vacation, because when you do a musical, it's almost like you're doing two things.
Yeah.
Because you're learning a character, you're learning lines, but then you're learning the music, which is like also learning lines and a performance. So it's the same character, but you're doing two things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
So to have him be doing that and then be able on top of it to do such a great job with that physical comedy and that comedic precision, I feel like that always is just like when he comes on, he's just like that. And he's just got those, like his face, his eyes, like the big twinkling eyes that you can just tell he's enjoys it.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have a hard time believing that Donald O'Connor was difficult to work with if someone talked about it.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. He's just so talented, and I think
Franklin,
like you said, every time. Yeah, this is our cat Franklin. If you're new here, every time he was on screen, I just felt like he just did his job really, really well, and he just sat in scenes well. He just added a lot to everything. Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah.
I have kind of my scene stealer kind of goes against something you said earlier. Oh no. Mine is the like Broadway fantasy sequence. That stood out to me the most. I loved that part because and it's specifically Gene Kelly with Sid Charisse, that one part where she's got that huge train behind her and everything like that. Yeah. I just loved how in this 1950s movie you almost have this like break into interpretive dance that is like almost like postmodern in a way. Like you kind of see remnants of like, oh, what is this representing about the characters, about the story, about, you know, this kind of, and just like the set design of it and this like huge space with like, they really have to manipulate a lot of the air to like get her train to like fly up in the air like that at points. And he's like, you know, got it all wrapped up in him. I don't know. I thought that was, I went back and watched it again because I thought it was like beautiful. I thought it was awesome to it was.
I didn't say it wasn't beautiful.
But I thought it was
impressive.
Such an impressive performance.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't like me, who doesn't like seek out dance as like something, as like an art form that I consume a lot. I thought it was like magical. It was so cool.
Okay.
And I that to me stands out in the movie because this movie is about the performances and the songs and the dance routines and everything.
Yeah, but you didn't think it was misplaced?
I don't think it was. I think it was. I think this movie. So yes and no, because I think this movie is a little disjointed with the story and things like that. But I think in a way it works just because this movie kind of feels, the way they shoot it, it just feels like a dream. It doesn't really feel like this grounded story. And I think that's okay. I think it's really just supposed to be this like magical montage of the magic of Hollywood or something, the magic of performance and the magic of all that stuff. Yeah. And I think, I don't know. I think I kind of view it from like that kind of optimistic sort of place. Okay. When you kind of just give yourself to what the movie's trying to get you to think. Yeah. But yeah, I get what you mean by out of place. Yeah. I would say that about a lot of parts of this movie. Yeah.
And Sid Charisse was such a big deal that I'm like, man, she is. She's just there for a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Like that. So
yeah. So
I don't know.
I thought it was great. I walk away from this movie thinking about that scene specifically and just the story they told simply through dance, like just through dance, and then like all the and then anyway, and music. But yeah. Anyway.
I disagree.
Casting swap. Who would you? Yeah, if you're done judging me over there.
Sorry.
Who would you, if you could pick any actor from all time to swap out with anybody in this movie?
Well, we're
who'd you pick?
picking on poor Gene Kelly, but you know, I always think, wouldn't it be cool to because he's such an accomplished dancer, performer. I was thinking, you know, what would it be? What would it be if they actually swapped? Maybe an effortlessly charming, suave person like Cary Grant. I know I talk about Cary Grant a lot.
Okay.
But what if they put him in there?
Yeah.
It would be definitely a way to probably solve your issue with the whole love story between Debbie Reynolds.
Because Cary Grant's got more acting chops for sure.
Yeah. Might be interesting to see if he could pull off all that. It certainly would not be as splashy. I'm sure people are listening going, are you crazy, Cary Grant? But is there any other actor, dancer, singer who could pull off Gene Kelly's part? Probably not. Fred Astaire would have been too old by then, although Fred Astaire played roles where he was older.
Yeah.
So did Bing Crosby. So did a lot of those guys that were in some of those movie musicals of the 50s. They were a little past their prime to play, but they still made it work.
Yeah.
A lot of times back then you had very much younger ladies were the love interest of the older guys anyway. Yeah. But I don't know. Casting swap would be tough in this movie for me. I don't know.
It was tough for me too.
What did you say?
I picked out Dick Van Dyke for Gene Kelly. Only because when I was watching Gene Kelly's mannerisms and the way he danced and things like that, my immediate reference point was Dick Van Dyke because I had seen him in more stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that because Dick Van Dyke is after Gene Kelly, right? That's the time.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to think how old would Dick Van Dyke have been in 1952.
So I'm thinking Gene Kelly probably inspired like Dick Van Dyke and his like dancing and stuff.
I want to say Dick Van Dyke, though, was more inspired by movie comics.
Yes, he's definitely.
I think dancing was secondary for him.
And that's the thing. It's like Dick Van Dyke was, he was more of a comedic guy, and I would have loved to see how this role would have been more, because Donald O'Connor's role is definitely more comedic, right? It's got more of that comedic element to it. And maybe he would have been better in that role. Yeah. But I couldn't help just the way he like had that grin while he was dancing. It was very much Dick Van Dyke. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. So I don't know. That was my thoughts when I was seeing the movie.
Sometimes you got to stretch these casting swaps.
Sometimes you just got to go for it, you know?
Yeah.
Deep cuts. Deep cuts.
You haven't heard that.
Deep cut.
In a while.
The phrase deep cut is a deep cut about our podcast, because if you've watched all the episodes, you know what that means. Go back and watch. But people know what deep cut means. I think you're just old, but that's okay.
I am just old, that's for sure.
Kidding. Okay. So yeah, anything else in like the acting or like direction, staging stuff kind of caught your eye?
No, I just you know, when I wrote down Donald O'Connor as my scene stealer, I would say that Jean Hagen as Lina Lamont is also a scene stealer. Her performance is intentionally always big.
Yes.
Because that role always kills on stage.
Yeah. No, she was hilarious.
They stylized it a little bit more for the movie, I think, but it still is a scene stealing part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Do you have any before we get into our hot takes? Finally, do you have any like acting stuff? I'm talking to the audience like they can respond right now.
Well, I wrote down, I mean, when you're looking at this whole story, everybody always wants to mention Gene Kelly being a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. I have worked with people, you know, in shows that were really, really perfectionists. I had a director one time say, "I'm not putting my name on this show unless," you know, and it's like, what is your name? You know, I mean, you know, just like I said, community theater is community theater. To me, it is an outlet for creativity, and it's a hobby. Mm-hmm. None of us, I mean, there are people who I think are enormously talented who are in community theater. Don't get me wrong, enormously talented, but I also think that there are people who are not real about the whole thing. Like, it is community theater. We work for free. Yeah. We have people, generally our audiences are elderly, who come on Sunday afternoons. and I feel like there are so many people who are so full of themselves. We just had a director that I heard recently told a cast he was working at a different theater, and he said, "I'm not used to this limited talent pool." He told his cast that. He told his cast that. He told the theater board the same thing. Needless to say, he won't be back to that theater.
Jeez.
But I mean, sometimes I'm thinking, who in the heck are you?
Right.
Just like these
people are just having fun.
Just like these awards that you know about that sometimes our theater's involved in, this award stuff. It's so much fun. It's so fun when you get nominated. It's so much fun when you win, which I wouldn't know because I've never won. But anyway, I have said many a time, some of the people who have gotten these awards are people who play the same character. There is somebody who I'm thinking of who plays the same character anytime they're on stage. They have mannerisms and facial expressions that they do, and it's in every single character they play. And I will tell you this, it's funny. And eventually somebody's going to give them an award for that because it's good. But is it that incredibly different than people who play different characters each time? I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just saying you cannot take this stuff too seriously. You cannot take these awards too seriously. You cannot take community theater too seriously. Do we want a good final product? Yes. We want the audiences to go out and say, hey, you know what? This little community theater in my neighborhood on the corner is top notch. Do you want people to say things like, that's better than I saw at the Muni? Yes, of course. You want to do your best job.
Right.
But do you want to go to the maniacal stage, the overly demanding perfectionist who alienates the cast and gives themselves a poor reputation? Do you want to go that far?
Like, it's okay to
no.
It's okay to. It's kind of at some points it's okay to be a perfectionist, just as long as you're not mean or cruel.
Right.
You know.
Right. But I mean, I just think of one time I was supposed to do this scene where I'm trying. This guy's upset with me, and I'm trying to say, okay, take it easy, like it's all right, and he's backing me around the couch, and I think we went around the couch 3 or 4 times before we do like the rest of it, or I run out of the room or whatever it was. That scene in rehearsal got to be almost comical. The director made us do it so many times.
Wow.
I don't know that we changed it much at all. And finally we got to where we were doing it just right. I didn't see any difference.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is almost getting to be like a power trip. Like, I can make you do this, and just dumb stuff, So you walk away thinking, I'm doing this for free, like that. But I mean, I'm sure that people who get paid all the time for acting probably feel the same way sometimes. Like, why does this director think, what's driving them to be a jerk, or whatever? So I mean,
I'm sure a lot of times it is a power trip.
I just wrote those things down because I'm like, okay, well, where did Gene Kelly, because he was so accomplished, he felt like he could do this, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think when you get to the highest level and you produce stuff that's like excellent, I think people kind of give you a pass, unfortunately.
Maybe.
It's like you and at some points you're like, okay, well, yeah, maybe Gene Kelly, maybe he should have pushed people. Because we've talked about this so many times. It's obviously not wrong to push people to be excellent, but like when you cross that line into like mean or cruel or like just even like anything like that, it's just, I don't think it's worth it. Like you said, like it kind of just feels like a power trip. It feels like unnecessary.
Yeah.
So that's a good take. I like that little connection.
And I'll just tell you, there are certain directors I've worked with that are just, I sound like I've been in the movies since the early 20s or something, but there are certain community theater directors I'm sorry, who are really cuckoo. I mean, they're goofballs, but very, very good directors, like charitable, generous. Hey, I can show you how to get a bigger laugh here.
Oh, okay.
And they're totally invested in getting as much as possible for individual actors and the ensemble. And that makes you a good director if you're, and that's what also creates that cohesiveness that you asked about earlier.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. Awesome. Thanks for that little insight, Dad.
You're welcome.
What's your hot take?
My hot take.
Give us something
I
to
picked
yell at.
unpopular opinion.
Unpopular. What's your unpopular opinion?
This movie works despite Gene Kelly's off-screen behavior, not because of it. I think some people thought that it was such a good product because Gene Kelly was so demanding and pushy and said, well, this is going to be perfect. And I think that one would think that if you worked with Gene Kelly that he would squelch your joy. I do not think that he did. I think the joy on the screen was still evident. I think that the actors were still able to enjoy it. And, of course, the joy on the screen hides what probably was a harsh working environment.
Yeah.
But I think that despite how he was, I think the movie worked despite his attitude.
Him, not because of him.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a really good thing to say, I think, because a lot of people might see this movie and how great it is and be like, well, he gets a pass. He gets that. It's great because of what he did. And you're saying it's actually no, like it broke through despite that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think people started. They worked so hard that they had to have had a moment where this is really good, and then they start enjoying the fact that they were doing something good. Because you kind of get, I don't know, when you hear something when singing that sounds really good, and you're involved in it, and you feel the little hairs on your neck stand up a little bit, or you really see that a scene has worked, boom, 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 and the audience laughs, and the timing's really good. You get a little thrill. There's joy there, regardless of where.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that take. That's probably one of my favorite hot takes you had. Didn't make me yell at you at all. You're supposed to make me mad. Gosh. No, that's cool. I picked defend the hated character. I'm defending Lina Lamont. Okay, so
can't help but like her.
I think, of course. I mean, and this is not. I'm not defending Gene Hagen. Gene Hagen's awesome. I'm defending the character Lina Lamont. So I think this is what I wrote down. The studio exploited her image and her star power for years, and then the moment she became a liability with her voice, they replaced her without a second thought, and the film wants you to cheer for it. And it feels like Lina isn't really the victim. It feels like, it feels like she isn't the villain. She's kind of more of a victim. Mm-hmm. And I think that the film wants you to have somebody to root against, but all of her actions are really just her defending herself.
Justifiable.
Yeah, because she is, she's with this guy, your movie star boyfriend and all this stuff, and then this other younger girl starts coming along and everything, and then you're kind of like, well, what the heck? Like I'm your girl, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're not good enough anymore, and they decide to breach your contract and go ahead and dub over your voice, and then you try and fight back with any power you have left, and then everybody cheers against you and they embarrass you in front of everybody, and it's like, that was horrible.
Yeah, you feel sorry for her somewhat. Yeah.
So what's funny is I don't think the movie expects the audience to feel sorry for Lina.
No.
And I felt weird about that because when I was watching it, I was like, so is she the villain because her voice is annoying? It's like, am I supposed to hate her because she's annoying? Because that doesn't work for me.
Or she's just a jerk, and she's.
You could maybe make that case.
Yeah.
I just thought I went way too hard on her. I don't think she deserved all that.
Yeah.
But I get it. I understand. I just don't like when films do that. I think sometimes films will be like, hey, this person's annoying. That's why they deserve to die. And it's like, just like, whoa, I don't think that's just because they talk weird doesn't mean,
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you unpack this movie too much,
yes,
you are not going to think it's one of the great of all time.
That's right. That is such a good. Yep.
You're not supposed to unpack it too much. I think you're just supposed to see color, vibrancy, dancing, singing, feel good. Mm-hmm. Story you don't have to think too much about. Enjoy entertainment.
Totally. Totally.
So
yeah. All right, some of our closing stuff. What's your double feature? What's your pairing to go with this movie?
Feature is a musical called The Bandwagon.
Never heard of it. Okay.
Big, not a lot of people have. Meta Hollywood musical.
Okay.
Incredible dancing in it. I'm not going to tell you anything else about it. Just go take a look at it.
I'll have to go watch it.
Double feature pick.
We might have to watch it.
Yeah, Bandwagon.
Cool. I picked another one. I did this last time too. I picked another one I haven't seen because I just know that this totally has Singin' in the Rain's like influence all over it, which is La La Land.
Yeah.
I think that just every clip I've seen of that movie, I still haven't seen it. I know people say it's amazing. It's just got those visuals, the color, the pop, and everything like that.
Yeah, definitely it has all that.
But it's for sure like got that influence from Singin' in the Rain. So I thought it'd be interesting to compare.
Yeah.
And I'll have to go watch La La Land.
I'm still not a fan.
You're not a fan of La La Land?
No.
Hot take.
No.
People love that movie. People like.
I know.
I've heard people say it is their favorite film ever, like and stuff like that. So
Can I stop right here and go off on a huge tangent?
go ahead, please.
Movie musicals most hated.
You're the most hated.
No.
What?
Most of movie musicals, the one that is most hated by me, the movie expert, Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
But I said that one day. I said that one day at church.
Yeah.
And thought I was going to be ambushed by all these ladies, young and old. And I just think I'm not a fan of Mamma Mia anyway.
Okay.
I do not like the premise. I don't like how they just talk about, oh, this lady could have had a baby by 3 different guys. I don't think that needs to be, come on. And
we're going to get so unpopular because
all
of this.
the people in this movie, Mamma Mia, were just, big stars with lots of talent, but I'm just not a fan. And there's got to be more of me out there. So,
all right.
Mamma Mia. If you hate Mamma Mia, the movie,
I don't want to be.
Come with me. You don't want to be.
I don't want to be associated with this right now.
Come on.
I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I'm not associated with this. This is Dad.
I think that my opinion is going to increase our viewership.
All right.
So there you go.
Go ahead.
Anyway, so that's what I'm just saying.
Or it'll plunge us into obscurity. Either way, we go down flaming. I don't know.
Poor taste.
Okay, cool. Just one last little dig in there. I'm gonna have Meryl Streep is gonna walk in here right now.
Love Meryl Streep. Hate the movie.
Okay, all right. Okay. Final takeaway and rating, not of Mamma Mia, but of this one, Singin' in the Rain. What do you got?
I gave it. I don't know. I'm changing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could say, for this reason it's a 9. For this reason it's a 7. For this reason it's a. Overall, in the genre, in the place that it holds in cinematic history, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that most people would give it higher, maybe 10 out of 10. It's one of the greatest movie musicals of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I just feel that whole disjointed situation.
Yes.
There's too much of it in my psyche to give it higher than an 8. I think I might even give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Just because there's just things I have issues with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even thinking about the fact that Gene Kelly's got such a poor reputation. But
sure.
I still like the guy, still respect him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm going to say my final answer is 7.5 out of 10.
All right. There you go. I gave this the same rating as A Hard Day's Night. I gave it an 8.
Okay.
Because I think it runs a lot in a lot of this. Wow. It runs into a lot of the same struggles as A Hard Day's Night in terms of plot and disjointedness. But it also kind of has that same cultural weight. Like Singin' in the Rain is just this huge musical everybody knows about. A Hard Day's Night is this huge musical. It's the Beatles. It's got this big thing.
Right.
And so they very much feel like not the same movie, but the same societal weight to them, I guess.
Okay.
It's just they're both huge cultural touchstones,
right.
which is why I rated them equally.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
But yeah, recommending this. I feel like I just think the plot leaves something to be desired. The performances and visuals are extraordinary. They're awesome. I said, if you love musicals, you will genuinely love this movie. If you love musicals, there's no way you haven't seen Singin' in the Rain. I think it's just, it's a beautiful movie. I've used that word before. It's the visuals, even by today's standards, are stunning, colorful.
True.
Yeah, I just think it's, it just doesn't have a tight story, which is okay for a movie like this. Yeah. I think it's still just, it falls together, is what I always say.
Agreed. I think it's a good movie for people who think they don't like movie musicals.
Wow, okay.
I think it's a good movie to watch for people who say they don't like musicals. It just might help, you know. I don't know that it's a good movie for people who think they know musicals really well.
Okay.
It's definitely not one for someone to watch who's not a huge fan of movie musicals.
Me too. It's okay.
I still enjoyed it.
I'm there with you.
I enjoyed it.
Me too.
I was glad to have watched it. I'm glad to have it under my belt.
Yeah. Same.
So there you go.
Cool. All right. Well, that's pretty much all we got for this week. We forgot to announce Singin' in the Rain in our last episode. That's okay. We did that at the end of April. But next week's movie, we're going to be doing Calamity Jane, Doris Day. So that'll be fun. Watch that for next week. Guys, thank you for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe down below. Share this with your friends. If you want to support us in any way, do it with that. Just share it around, comment, interact with us. This is like our own little film club that we get to, we want you guys to be a part of. So
even send me comments about how much you loved Mamma Mia.
There you go.
We'd love to hear from you.
I would love if everyone ganged up on him. That would be really funny.
Bring it on.
So, yeah. But, yeah. Well, thank you guys for showing up. And thank you, Dad, for talking with me.
Thank you, son. Love you.
I love you too, Dad.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.